officers approached me when I was incarcerated and asked me if I wanted to participate in stalking this certain individual. And this is what this story is about. It's kind of sad. I'm going to tell you where and when and what was my reaction to the whole situation and how I dealt with that. First of all, it's important for you to know a little bit of the background. At this time, I was about 13 or 14 around and about, but I was a hardcore gang member. I was always fighting. If you want to do your research, you can do your research. I was a fighter, a gladiator in the juvenile hall system. Bottom line, I used to be, at that time, I was in Silmar Juvenile Hall. And what was the name of this unit? I'm trying to think. I think it was the unit RS, if I'm not mistaken. And there was this kid, a young black kid. He was pretty young. He was like 12 years old. And this kid, it was obvious that he had some type of ADA, what do they call that? ADHD and other things, right? There were a disturbance to him. And obviously, the individual didn't have no appropriate treatment, especially at this time. This was around the late 80s, about the late 80s, right before the 90s. In the individual, the little kid, we're going to call him the little kid, would smear feces all over his cell room. And the officers approached me and asked me pretty much if I can scare him, if I can, and some of them have asked me if I can beat the living world out of him because I was known as a fighter. And then there was other individuals, other officers who asked me to do certain things, and other officers, pretty much took a middle road. Some officers were extreme, some officers were more humble about it. So I told them, don't worry, let me deal with it. Let me take care of this. And yes, at this time, I had influence over the whole unit. And what I did, it was simple what I did. I grabbed the individual, I put him under my wing. That was it. And I talked to him. I sat down and became a mentor to him. It was obvious to me that this individual was marginalized. People didn't want to hang out with him. People didn't want to talk to him because of his mental health struggles. But I became his friend. You know what? This individual was actually a good person. He suffered with some things, but they began to alleviate as the more I started building a friendship with him. And I built a genuine friendship with him. I even started because I used to get extra food trays because I was an orderly there too. I used to give him extra food and so on. And I talked to him about why was he doing what he was doing in the cells. And some of the stuff that I remember, it was, of course, they would continuously keep us in lockdown, and it was pretty much agitating his mental health conditions. But the more I started building a friendship with him, I just started using more like being, in other words, using attentive listening, just being a friend to him. Pretty much that's all I did. And this individual started acting good. He started cleaning his own room and everything. And yes, his issues, his main issue didn't go away. But bottom line, it was all I did is just gave him friendship, and the problem was gone. It's sad being in prison. It's especially if you're in isolation or for long hours. Doesn't matter. You can be like 4 or 5 hours. Imagine you being in locked up in four walls with no books, nothing. Just all it is four walls. And in those days, kids couldn't be, at least not in Silmar Juvenile Hall, they would not put us together. They would separate us. In other words, you were isolated. And the majority of the time, you were in the room unless you was an orderly out there working and going to school and doing other things. But even if you went to school, you would come back, it was time to go to your room and pretty much do nothing. So, I mean, now I look back, it's obvious that these individuals with mental conditions, right? These isolation is going to agitate them.